Alright, so Martin Bakole knocks out Jared Anderson, stops him standing in the fifth round. Oh boy. This was a classic case of man versus boy. There's no real other way you could look at this fight and say anything else really. Man against boy. When this fight was announced, I was I was surprised in a good way, in a sense of I thought, okay, this is a great fight, and it turned out to be that. It had great fight written all over it because of the styles of both guys. I thought it would gel very well. We'd see loads of punches, which we did. And the 5 rounds the fight went, I mean, there wasn't a round that you could say was boring or, either guy took their foot off the gas. No, they went out from the opening bell and they started throwing leather. So when the fight was announced, I was like, okay, this is good. I'm happy about this. It's a good fight. But it really is a bizarre deviation from the path they were bringing young Jared Anderson down. I liken it to that meme. You ever see that meme of the car on a motorway and it's just turning off it really sharply, really quickly? You know what I mean? I remember when Tyson Fury signed to fight Deontay Wilder, you had people saying, Frank Warren managed Fury's career, Deontay Wilder fight. That's kind of how I likened this fight, because he had that Charles Martin fight a year ago and he won it, Jared Anderson. And, he definitely showed in that fight that there was a lot of learning that needed to happen. There was still a lot of learning, but very talented fighter nonetheless. He has two fights. I think it was Rudenko and Riyad Mary back in April. And I kind of thought, okay, I like the path they're bringing him on. He still needs some more fights, maybe two fights, before making that jump onto the world scene, I thought anyway. Then this fight happened, and I was like, okay. Martin Bakole, though, a very big man, a very powerful man, a very hard heavyweight to beat for any heavyweight. I mean, I look at Bakole, and I was looking at him in there, and I was thinking, him against Joshua, he would give Joshua fits. That style of just relentless pressure, pushing you back, hitting you with big shots, that'd be a nightmare style for Anthony Joshua. And because he's such a big lump of a man, that would be a nightmare for Joshua. Joshua would definitely have success as well, but I could just see that stylistically being a really good fight. I thought this was just a very big deviation, and it would be, at the time when I originally saw this fight made, I was thinking Bakole to win. And up until this week, I was going back and forth, and I thought, you know what? Anderson, I think, is very talented. I think he's fast. I think he's a good counterpuncher. I think he'll be able to do it. And in the first round, Bakole came out swinging. I mean, he came out straight away, was on the front foot, launching a big jab. He's a very good jab, Bakole, very long, powerful jab. And Anderson met him. He met him. He was throwing body shots. Bakole was just ignoring the body shots completely. Anderson definitely had the speed advantage. The jab and the reach did appear to get to Anderson at times in there, because he was falling short with some of his jabs at times, because Anderson has a pretty good jab himself. And again, for the most part in that first round, I thought, okay, Anderson's doing what he needs to do. He's the faster guy, so he's making the most of that. Bakole is marauding forward, and he's putting pressure on Anderson, and you do wonder how will he cope with that. But in the first round, he seemed to be coping with it fine. And then with about 10 seconds to go in the first round, Bakole lands a lovely, brilliantly timed uppercut, rocks Jared Anderson, follows up with a right hand, puts Anderson down. Had that have happened, say, with a minute to go, we'd probably be talking about a first round stoppage win, because Anderson looked really badly hurt in that first, really badly hurt. He's lucky that when he got back up, when the referee administered the count, literally the bell went like that. So he was lucky. He was lucky, because I think if there had been a minute left in that round, we'd be talking about a first round knockout win for Bakole. In the second round, Anderson came back strong. I didn't think he won the second round. I thought Bakole, if you were scoring this fight, you'd have to have Bakole winning. Round number 3 was the only real round you could look at and say, I think Anderson did a little bit better in that round. The other rounds, I would just give them to Bakole. I thought Bakole was outworking him. He was landing more power shots. He was pushing Anderson back. Yes, Anderson was landing some combinations in there. He was landing some headshots, but they didn't appear to do any damage whatsoever to Bakole. I mean, Bakole clearly seems to take a pretty good shot, because Anderson has good punching power. He certainly does. Bakole just seemed, just like, nah, don't care. hit me, do what you want, don't care. I'm just going to keep putting the pressure on you. I'm going to keep hitting you with everything. And he found early on in that fight that the uppercut was just, he was going to have success with that all night. Anderson was going to have trouble with it all night because he just kept getting in the way of that uppercut. Just couldn't figure it out. Was trying to land his shot, was getting countered with that uppercut. Round 2, again, gave that round to Bakole, landed more power shots. Round 3 was a better round for Jared Anderson. I thought, okay, he's coming back into it. He's shown heart, because that's one thing you did have to look at with Jared Anderson. How is his heart? Because he's made comments about, wanting to get a boxing early, about it being too hard, and you thought, okay, you're going to come through adversity. You're going to come through it in this fight. How are you going to take it? Even though he lost, I thought he took it well. He got back to his feet in round 5. I'll talk about the knockdown now in a sec. But he didn't show any quit. He was just in there against someone who was just better on the night. It was man against boy in there. There's no other way of looking at it. Round 5 comes along and again starts off okay for Jared Anderson. It was kind of hard to see it originally on the zone feed because Bakole was in the way of the shot actually landing. But on instant replay, you can see it's a left uppercut that lands. It's only the one. It looked like he landed more, but it was only the one. And it knocked Jared Anderson nearly out of the ring. I mean, he fell below the bottom rope. Like the front half of him was over the ring apron. So he was nearly knocked out of the ring. And this was with about a minute and 20 or so to go. It was still plenty of time in the round. I think it was actually longer than that. I think there was probably 90 seconds left in the round still. So a long way to go. And I thought, okay, he's not getting through this because he looked hurt. He looked hurt again. Bakole wasn't slowing down. I just thought he's not seeing the end of this round. He gets put down again with a big right hand. I wouldn't have complained now if the referee had stopped it. I think the corner of Jared Anderson had the towel ready. I think I could see that. And the referee, as they do in America, you'll often see that they will give you a little bit more time to just. And even the referee was saying, one more time, it's done. He couldn't claw it back. He tried. He boxed on. He punched with Bakole at times, but it was too much. It was man against boy. There's no other way of looking at it. So Martin Bakole moves on. He's due a title shot. I think he's earned one. If he hasn't already earned one, he's earned one now. Arguably, well, I suppose I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say it's his best win because we don't know what Anderson will go on to do. I still think he'll have a good career. It was a tough fight. It was a punishing fight. It's a fight that I didn't think needed to happen. I think this was poor matchmaking on Top Rank's part. It was great matchmaking on the part of Bakole. But he didn't need this fight now. He didn't. He took it. He did his best. It wasn't good enough. Simple as. Bakole was the better man on the night. And, maybe 9 times out of 10, Bakole will always be the better man. It was a great fight, a great performance by Bakole. Give this man a title shot, that's all I can say. I look at that style and I think even someone like Alexander Usyk would have a hard time with Bakole because he just doesn't stop. He doesn't stop throwing punches, doesn't stop coming forward. He's clearly very, very heavy-handed and he's clearly got a good gas tank. Clearly takes a good shot. This guy's going to be a nightmare for people like Joshua Fury, Usyk amongst others. It's going to be a nightmare style to deal with. Someone like that, relentless, who doesn't stop throwing, and is heavy-handed. Jarrell Miller, certainly in his prime, was a bit like that. He maraud forward, he throw shots, but he didn't have the power that Bakole has. Bakole can, and he didn't have the size really, because Bakole is longer, bigger and taller, has a really good explosive jab, really long jab. Yeah, he's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare for these guys to deal with. That's my thoughts on the fight. Let me know yours in the comment section. Did you get the fight you expected? Did you think that, bad matchmaking on the part of Top Rank, matching Anderson too soon against Bakole? It was man against boy. There's no other way. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, you haven't already. Peace.